Hello and welcome back if you saw us earlier, or welcome to race 1 for the Cockshoot Cup if this is the first time you guys are joining us today. I'm here with Paul Walsh. Sorry about that, Paul. Here with Paul Walsh, who's joining us today, along with Ian, who is also here. So there'll be a rotation of the three of us rotating in and out. So we thought we'd bring you some of the drivers' thoughts and comments here in the holding area before obviously everyone is going out. But first, what I want to do is quickly grab a marshal. Hello, sir. Do you mind if I quickly grab you for a mini interview?
Depends on where you're going to grab it.
No, nothing inappropriate, don't worry. It's still before Watershed.
Go ahead. Yep.
So, obviously, Marshall, firstly, obviously, thank you to all you and all of the wonderful marshals and all the work you guys do here. Do you want to quickly try to explain to some of the guys at home what your role here is in assembly area and what it is you do?
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah, all we do is to, when the race control needs the cars to be in the collecting area, we call them up, as we have done. We mark them off as they come in. In the mornings, there's usually qualifying, so they come in just rows, first in, first out. But when they're racing, they go on the position they've earned through their speed, I suppose. Yeah, time of the circuit. Yeah, that's it. And then when they ask them about, we release them. And that's about what we do. And answer any questions in the middle of the day. What's that? How long does that go on? When's it finish? When do we go out? Yeah, and the usual questions. Apart from all that. That's the basic things we do.
Okay, wonderful.
And we help out flagging as well if we need it, or do work in the pit lane, which is basically the same.
Very, very multitasking then. Loads of jobs for you.
Oh yes, yeah. We gang of us. We do Le Mans. We're doing for the last 35 odd years. The classics as well as the 24-hour normal. They're now setting it back. It should be 2 a month. So that was good fun. We stayed a whole month one day. That was great fun. Now they're putting it back to normal, so every 2 years is the classics. So 24 hours next June, and then every 2 years will be the classics. And that is the race of the season, no matter what everybody says. That is top class, that is. There's lots of money going around that track, counting millions.
Well, you've heard it here first. That's the race to definitely watch out for.
Well, if you can make it to Le Mans in France, yes, it certainly is, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I'll leave you to crack on with your job and we'll go grab some drivers. Thank you. So there you go. There you are. You heard it there from the man, one of the men himself, the Orange Army. We can't big them up enough. We love the Orange Army here at Live Sport Now. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Live Sport Now channels. If you want more information about the Cockshoot Cup, and if you want to join our live chat as well, all of the links and stuff will be in the descriptions below, so make sure you click them and that. I'm going to hand this microphone off to Paul, and you're going to go find some drivers for us.
Oh, indeed. Thank you, Charles. So without further ado, cameraman following me, we're going to have a chat to some of our drivers, starting with our only female driver on this grid, Helen Waddington. Do you think Helen's got some time for us, guys?
She hasn't. She gets very nervous before the race, so she likes to keep herself to herself.
That's absolutely fair enough, but in terms of expectations going in today, how's Helen feeling going into the race?
She hasn't competed here for a good few years, so she's just hoping to get some competitive lap times in, and where she finishes, she doesn't mind. She just wants to enjoy herself, basically.
Well, we wish her the best of luck going into it. Won't disturb her anymore. All the best, guys. Alrighty, so without further ado, we're going to go a little bit further down our assembly line now. I'm going to speak to a driver who hopefully we spoke to a bit earlier today in the build-up, albeit not on camera, and that's going to be here speaking to Greg in the number 2, Greg Elgood. And as we come over, Greg, you got 2 minutes?
Yeah.
So obviously caught up with yourself earlier on today, and you were saying about the fact, a number of different factors here at the Snetterton circuit, but now we're all set for going racing. How are you feeling for race number 1 of the day?
Yeah, good. I think, we'll just concentrate and drive fast, so yeah.
Oh, indeed, one of the key ones there. But with the circuit, you were telling me about the fact experiencing quite a bit of front lift and the high-speed straights around here. How was it in qualifying with that?
It was okay, it's manageable, but it's just something that you just got to put up with these cars, so it's just, yeah.
Fair play. Well, we'll leave you to it. Good luck with the race.
Thank you, cheers, bye.
All right, so hearing there from Greg Elgood, who'll be starting in what is then one of our classes, I believe in the B class. And then coming over to what is our number 9 driver here. A quick word if you don't mind. So I've got to ask, how are you feeling going into the race?
Okay, just a bit nervous, but everything crossed.
I'd like to see your fingers crossed and whatnot. What's going to be your target for this one? Is it just to get to the finish or a particular position?
I'll be happy to finish. Yeah, that's hanging on like that.
Good goal, Tab. We'll leave you to it. All the best in your preparations.
Cheers.
All right, so going a little bit further on down here, we're going to come to our number 58 driver. And as we do, we're going to be speaking to none other than Gareth Jones. Gareth, a quick word?
Yeah, sure.
So going into this race, of course, competing in the F class, how are you feeling for it?
Good. The three of us together, we should have a good race. We're all gridded up next to each other. And it's all about first corner and getting past these little ZRs, really.
Oh,
They'll come past later.
Oh, indeed. And just on that, of course, overtaking quite possible here at Snetterton, but you've got to pick your right places to overtake. You got any in mind?
No, view.
I'd suggest turn 1 and also perhaps Agostini.
I'll do that then.
Well, best of luck to you. We'll see you at the end. And coming a bit further on down here, loving the atmosphere down in the assembly area. We're going to speak to David Coulthard now, albeit not the David Coulthard you know from Formula 1, but I think he's still a superstar in his own right here. David, you've got 2 seconds for a quick chat? So just coming to yourself then, going into this race, of course, nice conditions here at Snetterton. Not too much sun, but not too much cloud. Ideal racing conditions?
It might be for everybody else, but I'm having a lousy day. So, yeah, it's pretty poor. I should be half a dozen places further up the grid, but I just haven't got any confidence in the car today, I'm afraid. So, yeah, Corum's catching me out, so I'm struggling a wee bit today. Never mind.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Long right-hander always catching many out there. So starting a bit further on down, have you set yourself a target for this race in terms of places to be gained?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get into the top half a dozen or so, but I think from back here that's going to be a bit of a tall order. But we'll see, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day.
Oh, indeed. This will be the build-up to tomorrow. Then we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, speaking to David Coulthard there, and a little bit down on where he should be perhaps, but coming to what is our number 40 driver here of Colin Stubbs. Colin, a quick word for yourself?
Yeah. Okay.
How are you feeling going into this race?
About 3 seconds a lap off the pace at the minute, but we're hoping for great things. We let the tyre down a bit, so yeah.
And that seems to be a recurring thing from a lot of drivers I'm speaking to, feeling as though the pace hasn't been quite there today. Could it be perhaps the weather conditions here with the changing cloud and perhaps the circuit being a bit cooler?
Yeah, it's a little bit cooler. It's maybe catching us all out a little bit. We're used to the hot weather, you know, but yeah, it could have been that. I thought I was going a lot faster than I was this morning, though, so I've got to catch that yellow one up, Mr. Bellaby.
Alrighty, he'll be your target. Well, with that in mind, just one quick thought going into the race, of course, final 2 rounds of the season, so it's always good to end things on a bang. Have you given yourself a particular target in this race other than catching the yellow car?
Absolutely, yeah. We've been glued together all season, so I've never been this far behind him in qualified, so we're hoping for, a bit more power, a bit more speed, yeah.
Well, best luck, pedal to the metal to you. Well, we're hearing an absolutely upbeat there, Mr. Stubbs in the number 40. And then coming over to Carl Green here in the number 30. Carl, a quick word for yourself? Thumbs up there. How are you feeling going in today? Is it thumbs up with the race as well?
Well, hopefully. We've had made some changes since qualifying, so hopefully that'll make a bit of a difference. So hopefully work my way through the grid and hopefully get second or third, but fingers crossed, you never know. No. The other guys in the 2Fs, they're quick, so they're going to take some catching.
Well, they may be quick, but with regards to the ZS180 you're driving, is there a particular aspect to this car you think is going to give you the advantage around the lap?
Well, obviously I've got a faster straight line speed down the straight there, so I'll be able to reel them in down the straights, but I think they're probably at the edge on me around the corners, so it's going to be a close call, yes. Enjoyable. I'm going to enjoy it. Do enjoy it.
Oh, indeed. It'll be all about speed versus technical cornering capability, and you've got the speed. We wish you the best luck going into the race.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, have we got a bit more time? So, we're going to go a little bit further along here. One more. We're going to go to the number 8 car if we can. So, walking our way on over. And as we do, this assembly area quite packed now with cars getting ready to compete. We're just going to come to our number 8 driver in the form of Mark Wright. Sorry, gents, has Mark got a moment for us here? Afternoon to you, Mark. Going into today, how you feeling?
Yeah, we're all good, thank you.
Now, with regards to this race, of course, final 2 races of the season. First one today, one tomorrow. Have you set yourself any particular targets in mind?
Just finish, really. Finish where we can. Do it a bit, and I don't know, just if the car holds up, let's see if we can keep it where it is.
And just obviously we're racing at Snetterton, a very technical circuit across the UK. We've been to a whole variety of circuits this season, but what do you think the Snetterton circuit has perhaps compared to its peers that you've raced at over the course of the season?
It's got a bit of everything, Snetterton. You know, you've got nice long straights, you've got some complicated turns. It's quite technical in some parts. So it sort of, as a driver, it makes you think all the time. So you've got to be on top of your game. You can't relax at Snetterton.
No, very true. And when you're racing in a class with a whole variety of machines as well, I mean, you're competing in the MGF Cup car, but you also got some fast machines such as the ZS180s to watch out for on the straight.
Yeah, but they've got to get round the corners, haven't they? So it's all about coming out the corner, not actually going in so quick. So, you know, by the time they've got the top speed on us, we're sort of back to braking in round the corner twisty bits, which is always the good bit.
So it's all going to be about the corners for yourself. Well, with that, we wish you the best of luck going into today, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.
Cheers.
So here and there from our final interview for this build-up, I'll hand it back to Charles.
Thank you very much. Well, lots of wonderful insights there, Paul. What was the sort of overall feeling that you got from the drivers? Excited or nerves?
So I think it's a lot of nerves amongst our drivers, but also everyone feeling as though not as much time in the car in qualifying compared to expected. Many saying they were 2-3 seconds down. I think it's the cooler conditions, a lot of cloud still coming over the circuit as well. I think that is going to have a huge factor because we're getting quite a bit of break-up in the cloud now.
Yeah, we'll definitely make things interesting for sure. So we're going to make our way over to a better vantage point so you can see more of the track. So while we're doing that, if we can chuck the grid positions up on screen for me, that would be wonderful. And we can read through, or I will attempt to read through the grid as it stands. So on pole, you've just heard from him, that's David Morrison. He lines up alongside Mark Wright. Row 2, you've got Keith Edgar and Chris Greenbank. Row 3, Mark Bellamy and John Payne. Row 4, Colin Stubbs and Carl Green. Row 5, Gareth Jones and David Coulthard. Nope, not that one. The second to last row, Gregory Elgood and Phil Rigby. Rigby. And the final runner on the back of the pack is Helen Waddington. So that's our grid as it currently stands. We do have a little bit of a VT that we can show you, a very short and brief interview from earlier on. So I'll stick that up on screen now. Roll VT.
How are we doing? All right. It's good to see you, Phil. You ready for this weekend? Quite a big one for you, isn't it?
It is, yes. I'm trying not to think about it.
All right, well, I won't bang on about it, but how's qualifying?
Good. Yeah, car's going well. Dangerous statement. Touch wood.
Yeah,
car's going well.
You probably shouldn't have spoken to me then, but
Just need the driver.
We've got one. You're a good driver. Look, you crack on. We'll catch up, no doubt, this weekend at some other point as well.
So, as I said, a very brief interview, but again, a bit more of an insight into what some of the drivers are thinking, which is always nice. So, one of the things that you may notice from the grid, or may not have noticed as we were wandering around assembly, is that some of the cars are on slicks and some of the cars are on semi-slick tyres, which will obviously make a difference when it comes to what they can do in the corners. That should be due to the classes. So, obviously, 3 classes in this. Class B runners, Class C runners and Class F runners, as there is no Class A or D or E running today. But that means that we've got a few different races out there to watch, Paul.
Oh, most definitely. And as we make our way on around the circuit right now, we're going to be in one of the prime positions to see all the racing unfold, which will be at Agostini Corner as we make our way on through. And, well, with regards to how this circuit plays out, of course, a whole multitude, as we heard from some of our drivers, a circuit with a little bit of everything, some long straights. We're going to see the cars that are optimised for speed really deliver. But in the corners, it'll be the more technical machines that should thrive. So we've got a really great one ahead of us, haven't we, Charles?
Oh, we definitely do. So we've got some, as you said, with a bit more power and some with a lot more agility, particularly those sort of like Healy Sprites and the MG Midgets and stuff. They should be doing very well around the corners against some of the things like the MGSs and things like that. So should be very interesting. I always seem to keep talking when we're climbing hills, which makes it even more interesting. But yeah, so we will start to see the cars coming round at some point very soon. If you haven't already, or you want to find out more about the MG Cockshoot Cup, the link for their website and their information is below. And make sure, as you're doing that, you like, comment, send us some information in the chats, and make sure you subscribe to the Live Sport Now YouTube channel as well.
Indeed, and whilst we get ready to go racing, a little bit of trivia about this Snetterton circuit, located on the site of a former Royal Air Force base. It's a very flat circuit, much like, say, Silverstone further up the country in England. And as our drivers get ready to go, and just having to move a position slightly there, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for that. But as we get ready to go, it'll be what will be a good race here today, as we get ourselves all positioned now, and with the flat circuit, no elevation changes really to talk about. It means that drivers here have to get everything done with the corners, left, right and centre, and it really becomes a classic battle on the brakes and also getting on the throttle as soon as possible as they leave from corner to corner. But we're just waiting for that grid to get underway. Charles is with me once again here, and well, Charles, from your perspective, with regards to as we get ready to go racing, who you perhaps tell anyone to keep an eye out for today?
Well, obviously the pole man is definitely one that you want to keep an eye out for. They don't put it on there by accident, or at least 9 times out of 10 they don't. But also I think it could be quite a close race. So yeah, it's going to be quite a close race, I think, between those top few. As I said, the top few runners as well also running on slick, so that'll be something to look forward to. There's not a great deal in times between the few at the front as well, so that I think could be a very close race, particularly in the Class C stuff as well. Quite close qualifying times between some of those guys.
Oh, most definitely. And as we look at those qualifying times right now, being close in qualifying, and everyone will be looking to absolutely unleash their pace as they make the way on through. And, well, looking to those times as well, looking further down the order, of course, many drivers eager just to get to the finish line today, including, say, Gregory Elgood there on a 2:29.087 in qualifying, putting in P12. But, of course, it's not just about one lap pace here at Snetterton when you're in a 20-minute race. You've got to essentially look at what will be the ability to keep those laps consistent, and time and time again, it's sometimes the slower drivers who do shine through as time goes on, in the fact that they may not have one lap pace, but they're able to keep it calm, keep it collected, whereas the faster drivers may find that they've got a quick run on pace, such as we could see David Morrison and Mark Wright start off strong from that front row and then start to fall back into the clutches, but we'll have to wait and see how they play out in practice. But as our drivers are making their way on around right now, getting themselves warmed up, well, Charles, not too long to go now before we go racing. In terms of our drivers all being set, it's quite a quick formation lap around here now compared to earlier when we saw them all cooling down for Parc Ferme.
Well, yeah, it's quite a long lap round here, so yeah, the formation lap can take a little bit of a while, but not quite a slow down lap either. They'll be trying to put some heat in their tyres, get themselves nice and ready. If any of those cars out there have got turbos in them, they'll be trying to get a nice level of heat and everything up to temperature in there. As you rightly said, it's not just a one lap pace. This is a race, which means that consistency is key, and to finish first you have to finish. It's the age-old adage, but it is still 100% on the money. They're all starting to head now through Brundle, so under the bridge, and into Nelson, so they're not a million miles away from the grid, so we should be looking to see some racing action very, very soon.
Oh, indeed. And as our drivers make the way under the bridge going in to Nelson very shortly, of course, they've got a couple more corners to go, then they'll be making the way to the grid. A standing start for this race, and all of our drivers, of course, launching offline. And that's a big part of it as well, in the fact you have a poor start, and, well, these cars are slow in the run to turn number 1, but it's all a momentum game around here. And every mile now you gain off that launch within that 400 metres or so to the first corner, where it's going to be absolutely critical. But we're probably going to see quite a few two wides going on through Riches, and as they make the way up towards what will be going into Wilson Corner at turn number 2. That's going to be the first crunch point for all the drivers when they battle on the brakes. Where we're positioned, we're going to definitely get a great view as they make the way out of Palmer at turn number 3 and up towards Agostini at turn number 4. Another one on the open lap you don't want to miss, for the simple reason it's a place where you can definitely go for a lot of overtaking opportunities. And as the race goes on, we are expecting, Charles, for things to space out a little bit, but again, that's where the consistency factor comes in, and we might see drivers start to come back together, particularly in the second half of the race.
Yeah, exactly, and as it's a nice dry race, you know, things like tyre temperatures and things will come into play. So you'll have some people that prefer a little bit lower of a temperature, which means it'll take a couple of laps to get up to speed. They're not necessarily going to be their absolute fastest in the first couple of laps, but towards the end of the race, their heat will be there. The tyres will last that little bit longer. They won't be sliding around as much, scrubbing off getting that surface temperature higher than where they want it. They will be able to come back through the pack that a little bit later, which will start to close everything back up again. And obviously in opposition to that, the guys that run a little bit higher try and build a massive gap at the front and then just hold on to it when the tyres have absolutely run away and destroyed themselves.
Oh, very true. So it's going to be a management game as well, and that may sound a little bit contradictory when you consider it is a 20-minute race, and, well, we'd normally associate this with being a sprint race. But the key point being around here is in 20 minutes, a lot can unfold in terms of how the car evolves, how the track evolves when rubber gets laid down. And we were talking about earlier the fact that some drivers running on slicks, some running on semi-slicks with some tread on the car as well. So that's going to be a factor as well, and the fact that slicks can be pushed quite hard, much grippier tyre, but we shouldn't underestimate the drivers who are on those semi-slicks as well.
No, definitely not. Especially with all the corners and everything around here. Understeer is a big thing that comes into everything. So making sure that the car is nicely planted into the corners. Otherwise, you can really scrub off all the pace in the tyre, get loads of understeer, and that will really compromise lap time. Having a pointy car around here can be a really benefit to that. We are underway. You will be able to see the cars in the distance heading into turn 2. We've got a few that are side by side. My eyesight is not that good, so I can't tell you who they are. Not from over here anyway. But as we see them come round Palmer and down into Agostini, we should be able to give you a bit of an idea about what the running is looking like. As you can see them now coming out of Palmer's. This is normally a brilliant overtaking space, especially on the first couple of laps. But it does look like it's Morrison that has already built himself quite a nice little gap out in front. While the others are all sort of coming through in a relatively nice sort of orderly fashion. We do have a little bit of side-by-side action there. Can he hang it out around the outside? No. Nice little move up the inside there by the number 9 car.
Oh, indeed. That was Rigby going up the inside of what was Elgar going into Agostini. Nice move there. And, well, the top two at the moment of Wright and Morrison leading away. And I think they're already starting to build a gap, particularly right at the front of the field as he makes his way out to Williams and onto the Bentley back straight for the first time. Now, as they charge them down, this is where we're going to see that contrast of cornering versus speed as everyone roars their way down towards Brundle into Nelson. And first lap as well, relatively cold tyres and brakes. So this is going to be a bit of a sketchy braking zone as they make the way on in. And with everyone coming on down right now, we're looking a bit further down the order here, and we can see some moves being set up between our drivers, albeit the number 83 falling back from the 30 as they make the way in to Nelson Corner now, coming on down to the brakes. Very close there between a couple of drivers going on in, and everyone right now, it seems as though feeling out those potential spots, but not trying anything too daring as they make the way into the back section of the circuit. But as they come on around, we'll get the update on the positions come the end of this lap. But Charles, definitely an interesting opening lap so far from what we've seen. Some good battles and plenty to come on the next lap.
Yeah, and the main thing, of course, as well, is the fact that they've managed to keep everything nice and clean, which is always important. You definitely don't want your race ruined on the first lap. Trust me, I know how that feels around here, and it's not fun. but yeah, enough of that sort of pain. Yeah, some brilliant racing so far, nice and clean, which is what we've come to expect from all of the MG series. And yeah, just some good all-and-out racing, and we will see how this race starts to unfold as they push on through. You know, again, as we've mentioned before, it is only a sprint race, but people do start to make mistakes towards the end. It's just something to keep looking for.
Oh, 100%. We'll keep our eyes on when those mistakes potentially do arise. But as they begin to make their way now on to lap number 2 here, well, our leaders now heading into Palmer Corner, getting a bit closer to one another as they make their way on through. It does actually look like Wright's under a bit of pressure here from Morrison as they come down towards the next braking zone for Agostini. But you can see here, Wright having to go a bit defensive already, wary of the fact that Morrison might be looking for a move. So already right under a bit of pressure, and this is only lap 2. Behind them, meanwhile, we've got Greenbank ahead of Egar, and then we do have EMP5. What is, I do believe, Payne in the Austin Healey and making his way on through right now. Number 15 car fighting on P5 and steering clear of the cars behind at the moment. We're seeing that top 4 break away quite gradually as they make their way into Hamilton and up towards Oggie's corner at turn number 6. But further back down the order, no more moves being made at this time. We've also just got coming through here one of the 82 car there, making its way on around in the form of Waddington. And, well, Waddington targeting getting to the end of the race here, making sure they do so well. And I think a lot of our drivers are keeping that mantra in mind as they now make the way on down the back straight. But it looks as though here, right side, a better exit coming out of Williams, and he's able to steer clear as they make the way through. Further back, however, we do have a little bit of nose to tail running here. I believe that's going to be the battle for P6 between Stubbs and Bellamy, and it does look as though Stubbs right now holding ahead of Bellamy just now, but Bellamy is inching closer, and we've got quite the battle building here between what is Jones and Green, as it's going to be Jones going around the inside to set himself up for a good run into Nelson Corner. Nice move there, under trail braking now, and also on top of that we do have Coulthard looking for the move on Green, side by side there as they go under the bridge, and as they make the way out of the corner, it does look as though they're still side by side going into Bombhole Corner, so making the way on through here, very close between the two of them, and I believe it may be that in fact we have seen Coulthard make the move stick.
Yes, the battle as old as time, that one. Speed and power versus agility in the corners. I think we're seeing that play out quite a lot today. Obviously, Snetterton is one of those circuits that very much lends itself to that. You've got some tight, twisty stuff. You've got some longer, sweeping sort of mid-speed corners that you do need good balance and good sort of traction to you need some good sort of balance and traction to make the most off of it. But we do have a car who has blown up coming round Corums, and that's Helen Waddington. That's a real sad end to race one for her. Hopefully they can get it back out for the next one, but she may be able to make her way in the pits from there so that she doesn't have to call out a safety car. They are still under green racing, at least for now. The rest of the field are still very much under green, where you can see a lock up there from the number 19 car. But yeah, sad end to the race for her.
Oh, indeed. I must admit, I feel a little bit bad at the moment because I only said moments before that happening that Waddington's target was to get to the end of the race unscathed. It seems like a bit of a commentator's curse immediately applied here, but still, hopefully Waddington's all okay and the car's okay. Meanwhile, battle going on here towards the back of the field. That is between, I believe, Rigby and what is Coulthard. Coulthard on the inside there to Agostini, holding on versus the number 9. That's very eager to make its way on through. We also have Elgood trying to go back on the offensive after losing a couple of places at the start, and meanwhile making the way on down what is here the Bentley straight. No change to our top two. You can see they're in a bit of an equilibrium. Meanwhile, the number 19 and number 4 also staying together. So P1, P2 battle on, P3, P4 battle on, and now the rest of the field making the way on down the straight. And as they do here, well, it looks like things may have calmed down a bit, but still, we're focusing a bit further on down the circuit at the moment, and it looks as though we're going to be taking a bit of a pause on those battles, and everyone just trying to keep it calm and consistent.
So I've just been told that Helen has not been able to make it back into the pits, and we do have double wave yellows down at the final corner of Murray's, heading onto the main straight, which obviously is a bit of a shame for a lot of drivers because that's where you want to start to really make a bunch of moves. You can get a great drive out of there and either get alongside someone and pass before turn 1, or obviously make a move into turn 1. So with those double wave yellows, it will be interesting to see whether they do put out a safety car and try to recover that car, or whether they just keep that section under double wave yellows till the end of the race. And there was 2 that went in side by side there. Not really what you want to be doing under yellow flags.
Yeah, so a move being made there right into the double yellow zone. I think there might be also some oil down where Waddington had the incident with the car. So we've still got those double waved yellows, and I think there's been a bit of a slide.
Sorry to cut you off there, Paul. We've got fluid down at that corner by the looks of it. A few drivers are taking a few different routes of going sideways and hitting the grass, and a safety car has now been brought out. Call me Mystic Meg, I don't know, but it was a tricky one to call for sure. But that will do 2 things. It will obviously firstly slow everybody down, bunch them all up to allow the marshals to do the great work that they always do. And the second thing it will do is it will nicely close the pack up for us, so we can watch all that close fighting again.
Oh, most definitely, and that's obviously the double-edged blade when you're leading out front, as we have seen for right. In fact, starting to build a bit of a gap to Morrison, and now he's going to have to do it all over again. And with the field being bunched up, of course, this does bite into the race time quite significantly here. So what was already a sprint is going to turn into a super sprint, almost, you could say. But everyone right now just making the way around at the control pace as per the rules and regulations. And, well, we are going to be in the safety car period for some time. No overtaking will be permitted, of course. And, well, Charles, in your opinion, with the safety car here, who's it going to benefit the most, do you think, out of our runners at the moment? I think quite a few, particularly in the second half of the field, as they're making their way around through Agostini. I think they'll be grateful they're going to see a bit more action further up the road now.
Well, I think, to be fair, it benefits us the most. We get to see a lot more close racing. But, yeah, the guys that are running out there that are starting to feel their tyre temperatures get a little bit too hot, obviously they'll be able to bring those back down again to go again and get the most, almost like 2 bites of the cherry. So that'll be wonderful for them. Anyone out there dealing with heating issues, obviously that will benefit those sorts of people. And, yeah, it will benefit anyone that will have made a mistake, lost a gap, and only been able to maintain it, backing everybody back up, allowing for a lot more opportunities for overtaking on the restart. So we haven't seen the safety car come past us yet, as they will be waiting to be dispatched at the end of the pit lane, which is where they sit here at Snetterton, just on the inside of the start line. And what that safety car driver will be doing, he'll be taking all of his sort of I'm losing my words. There we go. He'll be taking all of his basically controls for what he'll be doing, the speeds that will be set, everything else. He'll take all that from race control, set the speed, set the pace, back them all up to how he needs to. It's a tricky job being in the safety car, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to keep the pack going at a nice reasonable pace so that they have to do the minimum laps under safety car, but slow them down enough, back them up enough so that the marshals have the most amount of time to work between the pack passing them. So yeah, it's a lot trickier job than it looks when you're not asleep in there just waiting to be on call. So yeah, that safety car driver will at least be earning a little bit of his lunch today.
Oh, most definitely. And whilst our safety car drivers gradually bunching the field up and leading around safely, let's just give you a quick recall of the order as it currently stands. So we do have Wright in the lead in the MGF Cup car. We then have Morrison P2 in the MG Midget, followed up by Greenbank in the MGF. There's Egar in the MG Midget, P4, ahead of Stubbs in the MG ZR. P6 is Bellamy in the MG ZR, followed up by Jones there, P7 in the MG TF. And then we do have Payne in the Austin Healey Special. Keep your eyes out for the number 15 car in the form of Payne. He'll be looking to make some more progress when we go green flag racing once again. Coulthard P9 in the MG ZR190, Elgood in the MGF P10, and then we do have Rigby in the MGF ahead of the MG ZS 180 of green. That completes our 12 remaining runners. I believe we may be seeing the safety car in within the next lap or so, which if so will mean that we're going to have approximately another 7 minutes plus the final lap of racing to go, and everyone right now will be, well, they'll be catching up the order as rapidly as they possibly can. You can see our lead group there of what is 6 cars all together behind the safety car, and then the second group, they're quite well bunched up and will obeying the speed regulations under those double wave yellows. They've got to do that, of course. They can't just sprint their way back up to the safety car pack. And as they make the way on around here, well, it's going to be a short end to this race, but still one that's going to be very welcome. Safety car is now bunching them all up, going into Oggies and then Williams. Perfect timing. So I get the good feeling here, Charles, we may be seeing a very close restart very soon, perhaps at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Paul. And to be fair, I think it's going to be a very interesting restart. We've got a few drivers that I think have hit some of that oil or fluid or whatever it was that was down that sent them off onto the grass and find themselves rather out of position. Green, who is currently actually in last place in his MG ZS. Now, obviously, we saw how fast that car is in a straight line when it was fighting much further up the mid-pack earlier on. So he's well out of position. So I think we can expect to see him move quite far forward. And I think there's one or two others in and around that pack that will be well out of position from where they were racing before we had this safety car period and the spillages on the circuit. So yeah, hopefully in there they're just keeping themselves nice, calm, collected, making sure that they're staying alert so they don't get caught napping when the restart happens. I'm surprised they haven't all bunched themselves up a little bit more than what we're seeing. I wouldn't want to be 5 or 6 car lengths behind a car when the restart happens. I'd much rather be tucked right underneath their bumper, but that's just me.
Well, indeed, it is a delicate balancing act when you are following the safety car and indeed the whole field. And really, the ideal goal is you want to be incredibly close, and as you're just about to go for the restart, that's when you fall off very slightly so you can build out that throttle for the green flags and look for that move into turn number 1. And well, as all of our drivers make the way on through Bomb Hole and into Coram now. The safety car lights are still on as we understand it, so we're just waiting for an update with regards to whether that safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap or whether there will be one more. But all the field practically together now as they make the way on down through Coram into the final corner of Brundle. And as they're making the way on down, still safety car lights on as we're being informed. So we are just waiting to find out whether we are going to go racing. Currently 6 minutes left on the clock or thereabouts. I think all the drivers will have an itch to go green flag racing very shortly. I know definitely we as spectators are absolutely itching to see some more racing. And as they make the way through, we have got another lap under the safety car here, so it's going to mean that our race now will be a 3-minute sprint at the end or thereabouts. So it's going to be 2 laps of racing by looks things, presuming the safety car comes in at the end of the next lap. And, well, Charles, perhaps not the longest race here in terms of the number of laps we're going to see under green flag conditions, but still the right call by the marshals and the safety team here to prolong the safety car.
Yeah, exactly. There's been obviously huge improvements in safety throughout motorsport over the last 50, 60, 70 years. And they do everything they can to make sure that we all stay safe when we're out there. And that's basically what you're seeing work now, using all of the different tools and things they have at their disposal to make the best calls, to keep the cars on track, to keep everything running and to have the shortest amount of delay. The safety car seems to have picked up a little bit of pace, so I think what we'll be seeing is a much quicker lap round this time. He's going a lot quicker than he was last time, isn't he, Paul? So, so hopefully the other cars will have twigged on that. They will be bunching themselves up, again, as I said, hopefully, and we can have a lot of really close racing at the restart. Clean racing, hopefully, at the restart, and we can go from there. As you can see, coming through Hamilton's now, so he's probably got about less than half a lap to go. And I'm still really quite surprised at the size of the gaps between some of these cars. I'm not too sure whether they're doing that intentionally or whether they think they've got to hold a certain gap or position. It's not VSC, it's SC. So I'm a little bit surprised they haven't properly closed up those gaps.
Oh, indeed. And the only thing I can think with those gaps is perhaps try to give themselves a little bit of room in which to try and then sprint forward as the safety car comes towards the end of this lap in order to give themselves a bit more tyre temperature plus also some brake temperature. Because, of course, running at quite low speeds, but the safety car has built up quite a bit of speed as we make our way down the Bentley Straight here and in towards Nelson, Murray into Nelson, I should say. And as they make the way on through there, now the field definitely starting to build. But, yes, that last trio of cars, which is being led by Elgood, a bit further back by comparison as we see them making the way now down into front of Nelson. And, well, lights are out on the safety car, so we are going racing once again at the end of this lap, ladies and gentlemen. So it is going to be what is approximately a 3-minute sprint to the finish. So we are going to get some more racing here today, which is absolutely great to see in our first of 2 races in the MGC Cockshoot Cup Championship. Season finale here at Snetterton. And, well, this race about to get underway once again. No taking until they get to the line, so the field will hold formation, and then it'll be when we see them come around next time, we'll get to see some potential moves kicking off here. So we've got green flag now. It's time for us to go racing once again.
Exactly that, and as you can hear, they're just crossing the start line now, so we will see them come through any moment now. If you keep your eye for the distance, you can see, I believe that's Morrison with quite a lead heading into turn 2, so the second place man has really been caught napping on the restart, and it does seem that he's sort of been backed into third, so this could be a little bit tasty coming into the hairpin. They're nice and close, but everything's clean so far coming out of that hairpin. Now if he can get a nice drive coming out of Palmer's, maybe they can maybe we'll look at seeing some racing coming down into Agostini. But you can see there out in front, Morrison, your race leader, absolutely miles away. He's capitalised on that safety car. I think he's actually gained a bigger advantage after the safety car than he had before it started. Brilliant bit of driving from him.
Oh, most definitely. And as the rest of the field now navigate for Agostini, well, no moves are no as yet as they make the way on around, but the field definitely very close together. I say that, and we have got a move between Greenbank and Morrison in towards what is there, the left-hander Hamilton, being able to pull it off there, Greenbank. Meanwhile, goodness me, a bit of a moment there for the number 2 of Elgood going down into Agostini. It looked as though there the car did not want to rotate into the corner, and well, in the end, the number 9 of Rigby making its way on past and moving up into what was their P10. But as they all make the way out to the infield infield section now. Well, it is Wright who is absolutely charging away the front of the field on the Bentley straight. Meanwhile, we do have Morrison falling backwards further and further here, it would seem, albeit in a bit of a drag race with the number 4 car of Egot, and Egot ahead now and looking for another move here, trying to go up the inside as well of Wes Greenbank into Nelson and Brundle, but can't quite find it. Meanwhile, the 44 catching up behind what is there, I do believe, Stubbs in the number 40, and the 44 being, of course, of Bellamy in their battle for what is P5, and as they make the way sweeping on through, a bit further down the order, the rest of the field has spaced out to a degree here after all the negotiation through the infield, but as the drivers make their way onto the back loop of the circuit now, I believe Stubbs versus Bellamy. It's still Stubbs ahead, albeit I said that Bellamy up the inside now, going through Coram, and Bellamy is up into P5. It would seem as they make their way towards the end of the lap. Quite a smooth move there, Charles, from Bellamy to take the position of a Stubbs.
Yeah, fantastic move there. Around that section of corners, so they're heading on to what will probably be the final lap. Well, it will be the final lap now. So they've only got 30 seconds left on the clock, and crossing the line, you can see them coming round, heading into turn 1 and turn 2. Again, Morrison with an absolutely massive lead. He seems like he's even pulled that out even further, which is really impressive compared to where he started. Obviously, shouldn't expect nothing less from the pole man, but yeah, he's done brilliantly with that safety car restart. Although the fight for the second definitely seems to still be on, so some very exciting action, I reckon, still to come from this race. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I'm feeling a few surprises still to come perhaps on this final lap here as the drivers make their way into Agostini now. Wright running away with things in the number 8. Then Greenbank here still holding on ahead of Egot, with Morrison falling further and further back. I do wonder if Morrison's perhaps got an issue with the number 1 car, given the fact we have seen the pace fall out of it compared to prior to the safety car, or perhaps he's backing things off to a degree. Meanwhile here, battle going into the braking zone. Defence set out by Stubbs here in the battle with the number 15 of what is Payne. Payne trying to go around the outside to cut back here as they make their way through, and Payne getting a little bit of oversteer on power. He's going to have the run here onto the inside into the left-hander of Hamilton, all in on the brakes here. Lovely move from Payne up the inside. Meanwhile, further back, we also do have an attempt in the number 30 of what is Green, battling with none other than Elgood as they make their way through a corner, and Green gets ahead in the battle for what is P10. So it looks like there are 2 moves being made, but meanwhile, making the way down on Bentley, we do see in the number 4 here, passing the number 19. That's number 4 of Egot ahead of what is Greenbank. So Greenbank falling off there on the straight, and a critical move right at the end. That's for P2 being made, where it is all blowing up right on the screens here in a positive way, in the fact we've got battles aplenty in this final lap. So as our drivers now make their way towards the end of this lap, the timer has hit 20 minutes, so the checker flag will wait them this time. We've still got more playing out here between what is, I do believe, Bellamy and also Payne. Payne trying to go on the offensive, but meanwhile looking up towards the front on this back section. Well, for the majority of the field, I think as they all make their way through the final corner, what our drivers coming on around here, I think it will be Wright's race to take.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely Wright's race, and he has just taken the checkered flag. So there we go. Yeah, Wright there driving an absolutely brilliant race. Apologies for confusing him with Morrison a few times earlier. Looking at the TSL now, I've been corrected. But yeah, absolutely fantastic race from him. So it's Wright from. We've also seen, I think, Green make a good jump back. I did say he would be one to look out for. I think, sadly, he was in that pack that really left a big gap at the safety car, and I think that's probably compromised him a bit, but he's made through the few cars that were in front of him. So if we can stick TSL up on the screen, and we'll quickly run through the order as they cross the line. So it's Wright taking the win, from Edgar, from Greenbank, from Morrison, from Payne, from Bellamy, from Stubbs, from Coulthard, from Jones, from Green, from Elgood, and finally rounding up the pack is Rigby. So you'll see them all pop through their screen. I'm surprised they've not used the little cut through behind the cafe, which they usually use to sort of shorten the in-lap here on the 300, because it's quite a long in-lap if you do all of it, especially not at racing speed. So I'm quite surprised that they've done that. But yeah, so how do you think that race went then, Paul? Did you enjoy that?
Oh, definitely an enjoyable race. Obviously, we didn't want a safety car to be deployed. We never want a safety car there if we can enjoy the full duration of the racing. But still, safety comes first in motorsport, and that's why we have the Orange Army with us. And, well, at the end of the day, we want to make sure it's the safest possible experience for all drivers out there on circuit, as well as a spectacle for the fans. But a fantastic race, and particularly after the restart, seeing those battles play out in the battle for P2 and also the battle for P5 and also P10. So plenty to talk about despite the limited amount of racing. And it definitely sets us up for a fantastic finale in the MGCC at Cockshoot as of tomorrow. This, of course, being race 1 of 2 here today at Snetterton in terms of the series, and the second one will be coming up tomorrow. But definitely the Cockshoot drivers here, Charles, giving us a great display with that limited race time.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, I think dramatic is the best way to probably sum up that race, I'd have said. But yeah, as you rightly said, we do have race 2 tomorrow, so make sure you come back for that. We've got plenty more motorsport to bring you today as well, so make sure you stay tuned for all of those races. If you want to find out more about the Cockshoot, the link is actually in the description below. Apologies about that. Don't know where my head's going today. And obviously make sure you subscribe, comment, have a chat with us. Any questions, anything you want to ask us, we can hopefully try and answer you or speak to some of the drivers and get a response from you on anything like that. But yeah, so make sure, if you haven't already, go like, follow, all of that jazz. If not, well, once you've done that, we will then see you back tomorrow for race 2. Thanks from us.
We a skank in the rave, run with coke, no shams in the rave. The baseline drops, it's a virgin thing, no shams in the rave. Front to the back, know what it is when I jump on the track. Front to the back, know what it is when I jump on the London, New York, LA, Paris, Kingston, Harlem, Brooklyn, Atlanta, London, New York, LA, Paris, Kingston, Harlem, Public, oh, yes.
McNulty to win, sorry, to draw the game. And she scores!